Looking down then at the grid of 38 cars for this, the third season of Ferrari Challenge Japan, or the third round of the season, I should say, for Ferrari Challenge Japan. The cars are getting ready. We're almost going with the race. We are in just a few minutes from the racing action around this circuit. Fuji is always a challenge for the drivers, as we can see overhead. As you can see, these days, the Fuji International Speedway maybe not quite as much of a top speed circuit as it used to be. Yes, we've got that long main straight, but now that technical final sector makes the circuit a lot more of a technical challenge in the present day than it was until the reconfiguration, which took place in 2005. But this circuit has always been revered in Japan, has always hosted some of the most important races of the season, and will be hosting a double dose of action in Ferrari Challenge Japan for this year. We will be back in a few weeks' time, but this is the big one. This is Ferrari Racing Days Japan for 2025. We've got the Cliente programs here. In addition to Ferrari Challenge, it's a true festival of all things Ferrari, and how apropos, therefore, that we have 38 cars on the grid, a record entry for Ferrari Challenge Japan, the biggest in the history of this series. And that's split across the 5 different classes that are out there on the circuit for today. You've got Trofeo Pirelli, which is for young professionals as well as experienced and fast gentlemen drivers. There's Trofeo Pirelli Am, which is a step further down from that. Copa Shell is for some of the more inexperienced drivers in their first seasons of racing, and then Copa Shell Am is the bottom rung among the driver ability levels, but we often see those Copa Shell Am drivers go streaking up the field and becoming more and more of a lively presence in the battles for the overall top 10 as the season goes on. Those are the 4 classes that will be in use within the 296 Challenge cars. There is, however, a 5th class, an additional class dedicated to the Ferrari 488 Challenge car, the Copa 488, or the Trofeo 488 Challenge Evo, to give it its full name. So 5 classes and 2 different specifications of car. Of course, the 296s out at the front. That very, very impressive car in its first season here in Japan was introduced to the mainline Continental Series of Ferrari Challenge last year, but the Japanese competitors getting used to the vehicle underneath them, and we're starting to see that level of competition really increase. And at the front of the field, it's that familiar number 88 car, Sotomuto, for M Auto Italia at the front of the field. He managed to win first time out in the car at Autopolis, which was a real head-turner of a performance, kind of picked up from where Miki Koyama left off, I should say, at the start of the season. Miki Koyama won both races for M Auto Italia in that 88 car. Sotomuto then took control with the M Auto Italia car for round 2, winning a race and finishing runner-up in race 2, and now continues on. Looks like he was a bit hasty to roll away there from the formation lap. Hopefully that's no harm, no foul. But Muto with a great deal of confidence, I feel, after the Autopolis performance, winning first time out in what were near torrential conditions. Here's your grid then. Sotomuto alongside Nobuhiro Imada on the first row, Akihiro Suzuki and Tsutomu Shimoyama on row 2, Motohiko Isazaki and Tadao Uematsu on the third row, Coldmax and Kanji Yagura follow them, Yasutaka Shirasaki, Shibata, Yamamba Tatsu and Kunihiro bring us down to 12th. Then it's Ryotaro Saito, Masaru Yaneda, Phil Kim and Masafumi Iwatashi. Zed Falcon, 17th, is the first among our Copa Shell Am runners. The first of the 488 is a returning name. You see there, 28th on the grid. That is Deske in the 266 car. Great to have Deske back with us, and beating some of the 296s as well, really proving his pace. Of course, Deske has been a part of Ferrari Challenge racing here on the Asian continent for well over a decade at this point. So not a surprise that he is up there and fighting for the big positions. But Deske in his older 488 Challenge Evo car, we'll see what he can do. You saw there, as has been a little bit of a pattern throughout the year, you've got drivers from Copa Shell kind of encroaching even on the top half dozen now. Becoming more and more of a regular occurrence. Yeah, Copa Shell pole sitter, fourth on the grid, Tsutomu Shimoyama, and he's even ahead of Motohiko Isosaki, who is the Pirelli AM pole sitter. So very impressive stuff from Tsutomu in the 128 car. Here we are then, going into 2x2 formation. It's Muto and Imada from the front of the field, but it could go any of many ways at the front of the pack. The ever-competitive Ferrari Challenge Japan with its biggest grid ever. We're about to get started here at Fuji. They roll out of the final turn then. And all eyes will be focused ahead, waiting for the lights to go out. Sota Muto will be looking for his opportunity. To claim yet another win here in Ferrari Challenge Japan. Will it be this day for his second win of the season? He certainly had a very strong qualifying session. He was 0.6 clear of anyone else in quali, but race pace is often different than qualifying form. We're underway in racing, and it looks like a good start there from Motohiko Isosaki. He darts to the middle of the scrum as they run to the first corner. He might well have third place, but Muto with the inside line trying to hold the lead. Imada going very late on the brakes into the first corner. There's contact further back in the field. Oh dear, a slightly messy start for some there. But it's Imada who leads the way. Nobuhiro Imada got a good run there out of the first turn. And as they go through the revered Turn 4, Turn 5 complex known as 100R, it is Nobuhiro Imada from the outside of the front row that leads it. And up in third place there is Shimoyama, the Copa Shell leader, has had an absolutely wonderful getaway. Motohiko Isosaki there trying to go on the offensive up in fifth position, but in sixth position actually I should say, because Kanji Agura has moved up to fifth overall, and of course he is a Trofeo Pirelli AM runner, so he's taken the class lead away there from Isosaki. So a few drivers have had dramas. See if we can pick up on whom a little bit later on, but we're focusing forward. Haven't seen any signs of a safety car yet, so I think everyone who was involved in the incident down at turn 1 has at very least got rolling again. Although, as I say that, it does look like the pack is woeing up, yes. So I think safety car, yeah, is out on the circuit. So then 28 minutes plus 1 lap at the end of this race as well. Plenty of time left in the race, but we are going to lose a few minutes here to some tidy up, and given the amount of carbon fibre that went flying there, that's not a surprise. Of course, the first priority for our race director is to make sure no one can snag a puncture in these incredibly impressive machines. 700 horsepower under your right foot, the last thing you want is a tyre to be cut down. Getting a replay here of the start of this race, and Isosaki really did catch everyone else napping, didn't he, from the second and third row area. It was a very impressive start from him. And then it was in that midfield scrum. I think potentially Phil Kim may have been part of that drama on the first lap. Yeah, I think Phil Kim, one of the parties there. Also the Yasutaka Shirasaki car. In fact, no, Raitaru Saito looked like he had to take evasive action there as well. Certainly not the start to the race that anyone would have wanted. Saito is up in 11th place, actually, so I don't think it would have been him that was involved. But Masaru Yoneda down in 19th position at the end of the first lap. That would make some sense. Yoneda, who started 14th, losing 5 spots. I'm sure he was at the very least having to take evasive action there then. Incredible grid size we have for this weekend. 38 cars. Is that the lights out on the safety car? Yes, it is. Well, efficient stuff from race control. Nobuhiro Imada has really halted the progress. He's going to pull the pin. And he's going to do so very early indeed. Even before they go through the penultimate turn, he's back up to speed. Now, is that going to pay off? He needs to get a good run here out of the final corner with Muto lurking behind. I think he did catch Sota out a little bit there with just how early he went. Nobuhiro Imada then heads out into the race lead. Muto and then the Copa Shell leader, Shimoyama, in third place. Further back here we have some more fighting going on as well. I think that could be Yamatatsu there, trying to make a position. In fact, no, that's going to be Cold Max potentially up against Dao Uematsu for 7th place. But lots of moving and shaking on that first lap then. Imada at the front. Into the pits, meanwhile, goes the 108 car. That's an unfortunate early end to the day there for John Leo, who started outside of the top 30 on this deluxe grid. No change yet for third position, but Shimoyama with, I believe that's Akihiro Suzuki behind him. Have to keep an eye. Was Phil Kim involved in that first lap collision, as we see there at the bottom of the timing sheets, and Norikazu Shibata also having involvement in that. So Shibata and Phil Kim that had dramas on the first lap. We're back to racing conditions now. You see there Muto taking a much wider entry into the final corner to slingshot that 296 Challenge car out onto this long main straight here at Fuji. Knowing your braking point for this corner, both in and out of the slipstream, is hugely critical in a car that's this strong in a straight line. They're not touching 300 kilometers an hour, they're getting close in this car. The incredible 296 Challenge, which is big downforce increases over the predecessor, the 488. It's got 30 more horsepower, but the way it delivers that power just seems leagues ahead of anything that's ever come before in Ferrari Challenge. It does seem, though, that our drivers in Challenge Japan are really getting their heads around the car quite quickly. 700 horses from a dehybridized motor. It's not a mild hybrid akin to the road-going 296. It is all petrol power. Sotomuto then second place, yes, last time out at the second race at Autopolis. But he won that first race of the weekend, and he'd love to sweep this one to try and emulate Miki Koyama at Suzuka our season opening weekend. Nobuhiro Imada is not a driver who gets the lead and then lets that lead go. That doesn't happen very often. If Nobuhiro gets a chance, best believe he's taking it with both hands. Imada last time. Oh, Muto is coming into the pit lane. Sotomuto is coming into the pits. Well, that's an unexpected turn. And a huge shame, because certainly it was going to be an interesting battle between Imada and Muto, and now that battle has been, well, rather quelled. And so all eyes now on Imada, and I suppose all eyes on Tsutomu Shimoyama. He wouldn't have expected to be in this position when he woke up this morning, I imagine, but fourth on the grid as a Copa Shell entrant, which is our third class, effectively, of drivers. In theory, he should be a little bit less potent than a Trofeo Pirelli or a Trofeo Pirelli AM driver, but Shimoyama is coming on so strong this year. And now he finds himself running second overall. Incredible stuff. He wasn't at Autopolis. He finished 10th overall and 11th overall at the Suzuka season opening weekend. Last year he was 6th in the Copa Shell standings, scoring 1 victory in his class, but he's currently on his way to, yes, potentially class victory, but also an overall second place. Let's keep an eye on the time deltas as well between himself and Imada. One wonders if Imada might start to manage the race slightly. And we've got a car, we've got 2 cars potentially off track there. We've certainly got one pulled up on the exit of the first corner, but were there 2 cars involved? Yes. That's a nasty collision there. That looked to have happened just in front of Deske. So that may well have been Komatsu and Katsumata as we go back to safety car, as you can see on screen. I think that could have been Komatsu and Katsumata that were involved there. It was certainly directly ahead of the 488 of Deske. Same, that is certainly not an optimal state of affairs down at turn 1. Safety car called, understandably. So let's take stock then of the order. The Trofeo Pirelli leader, the overall leader, is Nobuhiro Imada. All of the drivers that run in Trofeo Pirelli are denoted by the red on their number boards. The yellow in second place there, Tsutomu Shimoyama, that's the Copa Shell leading car. That's what yellow is, that's Copa Shell. Trofeo Pirelli AM is the white and black number boards. Kanji Yagura in 4th place, the first of them, having made up 4 spots as well, so an impressive run so far there. And then, of course, you've got the black number boards with the white text denoting Trofeo Pirelli Copa Shell AM as well. And then the 488s are denoted by the light blue, and you can see there Deske quite comfortably leading among the 488 drivers at the moment, and it's the 193 car at the front of the Copa Shell AM order at the moment. That is the 193 of Liang Chen Yu, Rosso Scuderia's own. Of Of course, he's the driver being coached this year by reigning champion Yudai Uchida, who's now taking that role of coaching drivers and teaching some others his tricks after dominating the first 2 seasons of Ferrari Challenge Japan. But again, one can only emphasize the incredible level of the grid for this weekend, with 38 cars starting the race. That is a huge achievement for the Ferrari Challenge Japan series. Of course, the second national series after Ferrari Challenge UK was introduced back in 2019. And it is the biggest grid for a national Ferrari Challenge series so far. 38 cars is unprecedented, although we've always had strong grids around 30 cars here in recent times in Ferrari Challenge Japan, and that form only continues. So who could benefit then from this safety car period? Well, I note that Sotomuto has continued on in the race. I'm wondering if he was given a drive-through penalty. You see his car there just going underneath the gantry now. He's 21st, and I'm just wondering if maybe he was punished for what we saw at the very start of the race. He drove away before the green light was on, just going on to the formation lap. So maybe that was penalised and it was a drive-through penalty. I didn't get any notification of that, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. I would suggest that that's the likely scenario, since the car drove straight through the pit lane. Also see there John Leo and Yamaguchi added to the list of drivers that are now considered retirements. So I think that maybe is the 2 cars that had the impact down at the first corner, because the 2 that I initially thought it was, Komatsu and Katsunata, are still going around the circuit. So yes, it would make sense then for John Leo and Yamaguchi, although we have already seen John Leo in the pits. So, well, either way, over 30 cars certainly still running on the circuit. And we are about to go back to green again, and once again, Nobuhiro Imada has wasted absolutely no time. Back to full speed at the first possible opportunity, and the safety car's going to have to sprint back to the pit entry. Your overall leader, Nobuhiro Imada, comes across the line. Just over half distance in this race, and already 2 safety cars. Looks like Motoko Isosaki might come under some pressure here from Tadao Uematsu for 5th position. Uematsu deep into that corner, and he manages to get it stopped. Very well done, Uematsu. You see him there flashing the hazard lights. I think that was thanks for not turning in on me. Motohiko could have quite easily made that more of an incident than it turned out to be. Uematsu then up to 5th position, has had 3 podium finishes from 4 races so far this season. He's yet to win a race, however. Into the pits has come the 139 car from the Shell Am category. That's Alex Fox, unfortunately, the Frenchman on his return season in Ferrari Challenge. Typically relishes the circuit with, or the circuits with a lot of history, and certainly circuits like Fuji, like Suzuka, I'm sure are critical reasons why Alex Fox has exported himself into Ferrari Challenge Japan for this year. So he'll be disappointed to not get the full race distance this time. We watch these cars go streaking down the main straight. Such impressive straight line speed. Hold Max there in 7th position, then leading a 3-car scrap for what is 3rd in Trofeo Pirelli Am. Closing in as well on Iso Saki, but Yasutaka Shirasaki and Yamatatsu are right there with him. And in 10th place there behind is Ryotaro Saito, who runs 2nd in Copa Shell. Saito, who is typically so impressive, is on this day a long way behind the class leader, Shimoyama, having one of the drives of his Ferrari Challenge tenure. In fact, I don't think it would be particularly dramatic to say that it's the best drive we've seen out of Shimoyama so far. Only debuted in Ferrari Challenge last year. What a race he's having. Sasaki there in the green and red car, always very easy to spot in the lineup. You see him racing across the globe in Ferrari Challenge competition, loves this discipline. A look to the inside there from Akihiro Suzuki. He's getting impatient behind Shimoyama. May sense an opportunity at fighting for the overall victory here, but he'll be aware that time is of the essence. 3 seconds between Imada and Shimoyama in 1st and 2nd place. And so Suzuki for Auto Speciale will be looking to circumnavigate the rear of that 128 car as soon as possible. All of the cars here representing a dealer partner of Ferrari. And all of the drivers fighting for honours, not just for themselves, but also in that Coppa dealer category. There's Deske in his distinctive Ferrari 488 Challenge Evo, the current leader in the 488 Challenge Evo category. Running 22nd overall and quite a way clear of the other 488 drivers. There is the battle for 2nd in that class, a good 10 seconds or so back, even just after a safety car. So Deske doing a particularly good job here. I believe that's a spin. I was gonna say that's Shuichi Koga, and it was, but now he's pointing the wrong way. We'll have to do all of that hard work again in the 242 car. Quite easily done there, just trying to get the car turned in, over rotating at the rear. That's unfortunate, but at least he's back on his way. The car is completely clean. We'll continue racing on. Meanwhile, the gap between Shimoyama and Suzuki at the front has somewhat stabilized. Was out to just under a second last time by. But it shrunk down again. Suzuki is in the slip at the moment and looking for a way into 2nd overall. We'll have to keep tabs on that as well. There is the 127 car, Ryotaro Saito. Saito running in 10th position. So in fact, very soon, the front runners are going to come across lap traffic, aren't they? Because they're just coming onto the main straight, well, they're on the main straight as we speak. And there has been a switch for second place. In the final sector of the lap, coming onto the main straight, Suzuki has gotten past Shimoyama for P2. We need to try and see that on our screens if we can, but Isosaki, meanwhile, is under pressure from Cold Max, who is under severe scrutiny from Yasutaka Shirasaki. Alex Fox is back out on the circuit, but still not up to pace, unfortunately. Or maybe he's just making sure everyone can get through cleanly, one way or the other. But there has been a change for second overall. Suzuki is through. Shimoyama has been demoted to third place. And he's got to be wary of Kanji Agura now when it comes to that third overall battle. Follow on here with the Trofeo, rather the Copa Shell Am battle. Just trying to pick out, oh goodness me, Zed Falcon there. Getting back past Fukui. I believe they've had a couple of position switches over the last couple of laps. But that was a mighty dive, it must be said. Certainly not lacking any ambition. Meanwhile, Nobuhiro Imada, 4 seconds clear now of Suzuki in second place. Imada, who's one of those drivers who has a bit of a I'll race anything philosophy, will jump in a single-seater one weekend, will come into Ferrari Challenge Japan the next, and seems reliably adaptable in all cases. He handed the car over to Tosai Moriyama for the second race at Autopolis as he had other commitments. And Moriyama promptly took the keys and won the race. And so if Imada can hold on and win this one, it's a bit of a, yeah, I can do it too kind of trump card situation there for Nobuhiro Imada. You see there Sotomuto setting fastest laps of the race, 15th in the standings at the start of the lap. I do believe it was a drive-through penalty, and the only thing I can think of that he'd get a penalty for is that early launch away onto the formation lap. So an unfortunate little motorsport clerical error there, costing Sotomuto. There's Shimoyama now, down to third place as we've mentioned. Suzuki in the gold and white car, a couple of seconds clear, and then it's Kanji Agura, Trofeo Pirelli Am leader, who's homing in fourth overall. It seems as though Shimoyama's pace is about equivalent to Agura. So an overall third place finish and a Copa Shell win looking quite likely for this man in the 128 car. Sotomuto, meanwhile, up into 14th place, having just gotten past Masaru Yaneda. Will soon be closing in on the top two in the Copa Shell Am category. Certainly not the race he'd have wanted, and is he slowing? Yes! Oh no, Sotomuto is slowing down. it was a technical issue that brought him into the pit lane, but certainly something is amiss with that number 88 car now. Our pole sitter at the start of this race has unfortunately not had the luck in this occasion. He'll come back swinging on Sunday, but Saturday is going to be one to forget for Sotomuto, who was starting to look like a bit of a championship contender. Nobuhiro Imada, meanwhile, is being closed in slightly by Suzuki. So that's going to be one to watch. But with time all running out and almost 3 seconds between the top two, I think that Nobuhiro Imada should be safe. He's laid down the groundwork on a couple of occasions with the safety cars causing the erosion of his gap to the rest of the field. Muto trying to get the car fired back into life, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Motohiko Isosaki in 6th overall is leading a big train of cars. Yasutaro Shirasaki has just gotten past Cold Max behind him for 7th overall. There's Kanji Yagura, behind him is Tadao Uematsu. But then 7th back is a bit of a scrum for position at the moment. In fact, make that 6th back, of course, with Isosaki increasingly involved in the battle as well. We're into the final 2 laps of the race then, with the clock about to tick down to 0 and plus 1 lap still to put on to the end of this race. Liang Chenyu, you see there, just keeping things neat and tidy at the front of the Chelam battle, has been controlling that race for the duration here. At the front of the field, Nobuhiro Imada is just over a lap away, claiming his first win of the season, which rather strangely is the 2nd win in a row for his car after handing it over for race 2 at Autopolis. Things have calmed down slightly behind Motohiko Isosaki. The battle for 7th between Cold Max and Shirasaki is still very close, however, and that is for 3rd in Trofeo Pirelli Am, so we'll try and keep an eye on that. Broadly, though, it looks like most of our protagonists across the 5 classes are in comfortable position. The 488 leader just on our screens there, Desuke, running a lonely 22nd, 10 seconds clear of the car behind him, Kako in the 118. Copa Chelam leader Liang Chenyu is running 12th. And is a couple of seconds clear of his adversaries. Meanwhile, it is starting to kick off a little bit here behind Isosaki. Some 488 traffic in amongst it as well, but you can see Cold Max there still having to watch the mirrors because Yasutaka Shirasaki is right there with him. Cold Max has never been one to lack ambition, to lack bravery. But Shirasaki has also never been one to leave positions on the table. And they're both close to Motohiko Isosaki as well. I wouldn't want to place my bets any which way in this battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th in Trofeo Pirelli Am right now. Cold Max having a little bit of a look to the inside of Isosaki, but around his outside comes Tadao Uematsu. And Uematsu gets his nose cut off there. At the front of the field, though, Nobuhiro Imada will be just moments away from crossing the line at the front of the field. Here is Imada. He's been held up massively there on the final lap in the lap traffic. Akihiro Suzuki would wish for one more lap, but it's not going to happen. The checkered flag is going to fly, and Nobuhiro Imada is your race winner. Suzuki gained 2 seconds there in the final sector of the final lap. Shimoyama crosses the line in 3rd overall to win Copa Shell, ahead of Kanji Agura, who wins in the Trofeo Pirelli AM categorization, and Motohiko Isosaki just about holds on to 6th overall and therefore 2nd in Pirelli AM. Cold Max and Shirasaki will round out that podium. And here, just coming out of the final turn, is Liang Chenyu. Will be a very, very respectable 12th place overall, but moreover, a Copa Shell AM victory for the driver of the 193, I should say. If I'm not mistaken, that's his first win of the season in category as well. And what about this for a return drive from Deske, with a little bit of a flourish coming out of the final corner. Almost as high as the overall top 20 in this 38-car grid, proving how effective of a tool the full 488 Challenge Evo can still be. Deske comes across the line in 21st place, winning the 488 class on his return to Ferrari Challenge Japan. First we've seen of him this year. But a very, very solid drive there from Imada. No feet wrong at all. Looked like he was going to be sizing up Sotomuto as the early stages of that race unfolded. However, Muto, with an issue of some description, coming into the pits and then ultimately pulling up, opened the door to Nobuhiro Imada, and certainly he didn't need to be asked twice. I think for Akihiro Suzuki, he'll be maybe wishing he had a slightly better run of it in qualifying, because certainly he had the race pace to keep up with Imada. That said, second place will still be a solid reward for a good race. What about Shimoyama? Copa Shell winner and third overall. Missed Autopolis, so coming back into the series in style, Shimoyama. Meanwhile, Nobuhiro Imada celebrates his win there, 2 fingers aloft. His first win of the year, the second win of the season for his car. So slightly trumping his young protege, Tosai Moriyama, who took the car over last time out in Autopolis for race 2. Here comes Shimoyama out of the car, and that's a happy man. Justifiably so, was always in the top 3. And I believe that is the one and only Cold Max there. In fact, no, sorry, that's Kanji Agura celebrating his win. Mix my helmet designs up there briefly, but Kanji Agura celebrating his Trofeo Pirelli AM win. I'm sure that Cold Max and Isosaki will be delighted as well. There's the 127 of Ryotaro Saito, claiming a podium again in the Copa Shell proceedings, but he's going to be scratching his head and going, well, how do I catch up with that Shimoyama guy? Because his pace, top 3 overall pace for a Copa Shell driver, is stunning stuff. Saito was 7th overall at Autopolis last time out, has had a really strong year so far, and continues that with a trip to the podium in this race. But here's Desuke in the 266 car. That 488 Challenge Evo has done many thousands of kilometers now in the hands of Desuke, but still as potent as ever. And of course, thanks to his distinctive livery, we can never miss that car on the circuit. Great to see him back. First appeared in Ferrari Challenge all the way back in 2013 in the former Asia Pacific Series. He's been a consistent supporter ever since. You can see the joy there of having a good race. Hugs and kisses all round. Really nice, respectful guy is Desuke. How great to see him celebrating the moment. Of course, the media team here at Ferrari Challenge now has the not inconsiderable task of rounding everybody up for the podiums. We saw there the top 10 on screen briefly. Nobuhiro Imada, your race winner from Akihiro Suzuki. And then Shimoyama, your Copa Shell winner, taking 3rd overall. Hopefully we'll get that graphic up in full in a minute to talk you through the order. Kanji Agura in 4th position, winner of Pirelli Am, Uematsu, Isosaki, Kolmax, Shirosaki, Yamatatsu and Ryotaro Saito taking us down to 10th position ahead of Kunihiro. Liang Chen-yu, the winner of Copa Shell Am, in 12th place ahead of Katayama, Yaneda, Sahara, Fukui, Falcon, Shogaki, Matsumoto and Hiwatashi, your overall top 10 ahead of Desuke, who won the Trofeo 488 classification, Katsumata, Kurakawa, Komatsu, Kako, Takaoka, Jay, Shuichi, Koga, Nozaki and Yamaki bringing us down to 30th place. Hirota, Kane Kim, John Leo and Sotomuto, those who will be classified. I don't think Fox, Yamaguchi, Shibata or Phil Kim did enough laps to be classified ultimately. But either way, a huge weekend for Ferrari Challenge Japan with 38 cars on that grid. It's incredible just how quickly this category has grown. Last year we averaged out around 30 cars a weekend as well. It has been really impressive to see the support for Ferrari Challenge Japan in the region, and it really has exploded this year again with the arrival of that 296, and we've seen the same as well in the UK. The biggest grids ever in the National Series there. Of course, if you are tuned in with us on the Ferrari YouTube channel, there is more Ferrari Challenge action to come from Brands Hatch today in Ferrari Challenge UK as well, so keep that in mind too. By no means is the single make Ferrari action finished for today. With this race result, I suspect that the point standings are going to look dramatically different. A full haul of 15 points, of course, for Nobuhiro Imada. But Tadao Uematsu will still be our leader in Trofeo Pirelli. He was the points leader coming into this race. But both Akihiro Suzuki and Nobuhiro Imada will have moved closer. In fact, I think the top 5 in the standings will be covered by 20 points. However, one of those drivers is Miki Koyama, who of course was only with us for Suzuka, but such was her dominance there that she still came into this weekend second in the Trofeo Pirelli standings. Yuso Saki will still be the leader in Trofeo Pirelli AM with his result today, but Kanji Agura nudging closer. However, he missed Autopolis, so only 4th in the standings at the moment, so he'll still be behind Coldmax at the very least in the championship order. I suspect he'll be 3rd now. The Copa Shell standings will be interesting after this race, because Shimoyama was a distant 4th in the standings after Autopolis, having only taken place or only taken part in Suzuka. Phil Kim with a non-finish in this race. He was our championship leader on 66. Shimoyama had 21 points to his name. And so I dare say that Shimoyama is now that little bit closer, but I think it'll be still Phil Kim leading the points. It will be, but that gap will have shrunk down with Hiratashi and Yaneda also a factor. Now, until the conclusion of the Autopolis weekend, Ryotaro Saito was running in Trofeo in Copa Shell AM. And I note, of course, for this weekend, he's moved up a category to Copa Shell, and we saw him finish 2nd in class today. So I think that may well have been a voluntary move up a category for Ryotaro Saito. This victory, a big deal, I'm sure, for Yuliang Chen, his first victory in Copa Shell AM. The ultimate payoff to the work he's been doing, working hard with Yudai Uchida to get the maximum out of the car. And Yuliang Chen, now a race winner in the Copa Shell AM category in Ferrari Challenge Japan, and that will move him up from 6th in the standings. I think he'll be potentially as high as 4th in the standings now, if not 3rd. Well, as the podiums are being waited for here, we remind you that we will be going racing again on Sunday morning. We'll be starting, well, about in 24 hours' time exactly, effectively, with more racing in Ferrari Challenge Japan. We invite you to stay with us for the podiums, but the racing action has concluded, and we must congratulate our winner. What a drive from Nobuhiro Imada with his first win of the season. You can see there the personnel waiting in their droves for these podiums. And as I alluded to just before we started talking about the results, it is always a bit of a task to get everybody on the same page and in the same location to deliver the trophies. But speak of the Devils, and here they come. That's Tadao Uematsu coming to the third step. Second step, of course, for Suzuki. Nobuhiro Imada, the overall race winner here. His first top step of the season in Ferrari Challenge Japan. Presentations then being made. Well-earned silverware here from our drivers. Akihiro Suzuki receives his second place trophy on behalf of his dealer representative Auto Speciale, but no one could beat Nobuhiro Imada today. Of course, had to manage those safety car restarts, which he did very well, I must say. That approach of launching early is high risk, high reward, because if he got the final corner wrong, having launched the car from the penultimate turn, it would have been a bit difficult to hold the lead down that long main straight, and yet he mastered it every time. Receives the Pirelli award as well as our Trofeo Pirelli winner. Nobuhiro Imada will be delighted with the first win of the season. Moriyama proved that the car was a winner earlier on, and now Imada has proven that he can win with the car too. 2 wins in a row for the Rossa Scuderia number 4 outfit. Applause given there to our Trofeo Pirelli top 3. Of course, no overall podium as such in this. It's all class podiums. And in what is quite a warm weekend here, I think just about anywhere in the world, I'm sure that a champagne hose down won't be the worst thing. Go on, guys. Concludes then our celebrations for Trofeo Pirelli, but that's the first of 5 class podiums. Next up may well be Trofeo Pirelli, but it could also be Copa Shell Am, because of course Third place Tsutomu Shimoyama, third overall. Technically, Copa Shell was the second class on this day, but I suspect it will be Trofeo Pirelli Am up next. Which means that the next driver we should see striding up onto the podium will be Cold Max. Sure enough, there he is. Cold Max to step number 3 once again. Yet to claim a class win this season. Motiko Isosaki taking the second step again. I'm sure both of these parties will be at Finale Mondiali at the end of the year, and I'm sure Kanji Igura might join them as well. Of course, that's the big crescendo at the end of the season for Ferrari Challenge after the Japan season wraps in Okayama in August. Kanji Igura on that top step. Across all of the classes, I think that the proceedings in this race have made things a bit more interesting. Championship-wise, Kanji Igura was a way back, especially after missing Autopolis in the standings, and yet a race victory, if he can keep that kind of momentum going, by the time we get to our final weekend in August, who knows, he might be a contender. And the celebrations there from our team representative from Kanji Igura's Cornes Osaka dealership. Lots of different Cornes dealerships represented on our grid. The Shiba and Osaka dealers among them. So posing for pictures, and then everyone not in Racing Nomex will gain a lick of speed and make sure they're out of the firing line for the champagne. Cold Max is always first to get the bottle open, every time. Has that down to a fine art. Our top 3 in Pirelli Am celebrating then. Great to see them enjoying themselves. Motiko Isosaki will be looking to try and lead it next time. Of course, was leading the category for a while before Igura got past. I just feel like he wants to win. Isosaki loves his racing, has fun with it, as you're supposed to, but he's a very competitive man. So next up it will be Copa Shell. It'll be Ryuichi Kunihiro taking the third step of the podium there, 11th overall. For Kunihiro. Finishing behind class debutant Ryotaro Saito, of course. Kunihiro to the third step of the podium. Saito next up. But the man of the hour firmly in Copa Shell, the man that will welcome now onto the top step, Shimoyama-san to the top. A remarkable performance from him. Third overall. No mean feat. His dealer representative at Corner Shiba. I'm sure they'll all be very happy with that. There is Tsutomu Shimoyama on the top step. Pose for the pictures and will then spray the champagne. For Shimoyama, it's also a celebration, of course, not just of that class win, but also for third overall. And of course, it'll be interesting to see how he continues that momentum into Sunday qualifying tomorrow morning, to see whether he can again net himself a position in the sharp end of the field. Different approaches to the champagne opening. Kunihiro the quickest. Was very respectful though and waited for everyone else to get theirs open too. They might have jumped the queue there, but now they try and spray the champagne again. It's unfortunately all gone flat now, but it hopefully will still be cold and they can recoup. The Ferrari 296 Challenge cockpit is a fairly hospitable environment for a driver. It's not going to cook you in there. They've got amenities like air conditioning to help them out, but I'm sure that at the end of these races they are hoping the drinks are cold, because certainly quite a warm weekend. We just saw there a Ferrari 333 SP going down the main straight. As the Ferrari Racing Days continues, the F1 Clienti cars out on circuit at the moment, making a fabulous noise. These Ferrari Racing Days events, quite unlike any other if you're a fan of the prancing horse, the cars that you just trip upon in the paddock. Whether it's a road car or a racing legend. Lots of very impressive bits of kit around. Hiroyasu Sahara with what I believe to be his first podium in Ferrari Challenge Japan's Copa Shell Am category. On the third step, Hiroyuki Katayama celebrating in a big way there as he came up onto the podium. And the first-time winner, Liang Chen-yu, taking the top step for today. His dealer rep from Rossa Scuderia comes up to the top step. Receive their silverware. In this category, there is also the gentleman driver subclass to consider. I believe Yasuhito Fukui, the 4th overall among the Copa Shell-Am drivers, will be our winner there. In fact, no, sorry, of course, Hiroyasu Sahara. That's why he just got 2 trophies, because Hiroyasu Sahara also winning the gentleman driver subclass in Copa Shell-Am, so getting a 3rd and a 1st place trophy. But the big 1st place in Copa Shell-Am going there to Liang Chenyu. Applause given out there to the podium drivers. Can also see a few covering their ears as the sounds of classic Formula One take precedent over all down there. The first win for Liang Chenyu in his fledgling Ferrari Challenge Japan career. First season in the category with that help of driver coach Yudai Uchida, the reigning champion in Trofeo Pirelli from last year. He well earns it as he celebrates. Of course, one more podium still to come, and that will be the 488 podium, which Desuke will be on top of. Joined by the driver, not just with a mononym, but monoletter of J. He'll be 2nd, and Shiuchi Koga will take the 3rd step of the 488 podium. Shuichi Koga there, joining us with plenty of energy on the 3rd step of the podium. And there is Jay to the 2nd step. But on return, the winner in the 488 category, it's Desuke. And it's always a party when Desuke has something to celebrate. Third place trophy then to Shuichi Koga for the Ideal dealership. Rosso Scuderia's J taking step number 2. But on behalf of Cornes Shiba, your 488 Trofeo winner is Desuke. Interesting when I'm sure Desuke puts in an order for a 296 to see where he stacks up in the overall standings again. Was always one to fight within the overall top 10. Of course, he will, I'm sure, adapt well to the 2.9 litre V6 powered Ferrari 296 Challenge. Such an incredible machine. But great to see the 488 still out in force as well in Ferrari Challenge Japan. Adds a bit more flavour, a bit more oral depth as well with the V6 and the V8s running around together on the circuit. And by far had there for the group photo at the end as well. Deske's shining influence at work. Photography over. Time to grab some champagne and have a spray. As the sounds of V8s, V10s and V12 Formula 1 and sports cars reverberate around the podium. It's a great reminder of everything that Ferrari Racing Days gives us. This is the Japanese Ferrari Racing Days event for the season. This is an event they all want to try and win at. And as they continue to celebrate and get in some selfies, we remind you that the action is anything but over for this weekend at the Fuji International Speedway. Race 2 of our weekend here will be going live for you at what will be 4:15 p.m. Japanese time, 8:15 for the UK, 9:15 for mainland Europe. Make sure you join us for that one. Make sure you tune in as well to the action in the UK for Brands Hatch and their third round of the season in Ferrari Challenge UK. But from the foothills of Fuji, we bid you farewell from a very exciting first race of the weekend in Ferrari Challenge Japan.